building something and actually trying to sell something on the internet is just the perfect way to get started in product if you have no other way in. Find joy and let go of things that you can't control.
What are 3 things that make for a good PRD?
One, created by ChatPRD,
Duh.
obviously. Bigger hair, closer to God. Women in Texas know how to have big hair. People see my hair sometimes. It's like pretty put together today. But
Uh-huh.
people see my hair sometimes and they're like, "Are you from Texas?" And I'm
Really?
like, "Yeah, I am."
Can you say something in a Texas accent?
Absolutely, I can.
Hey everybody, I'm Elisa. I'm part of the ChatPRD team, and I'm here with Claire Vo, the creator of ChatPRD. And in this video, we are going to get to know Claire, and we're also going to get a little bit of advice from her, which is awesome. So you might be familiar with Vogue's 73 questions, but we're going to do one better. We're going to do 74. Claire, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Amazing. Well, first of all, you have a great Zoom background. Can you tell me your favorite item in your Zoom background?
Yeah, let me see if I can unblur. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Oh,
I'm a technology professional.
you got
I can
this.
do it. Ah, we did it. Okay.
Perfect.
So I love this Stern Grove Festival 2023
I
poster
love that.
from a festival that they do in San Francisco every summer. It's totally free. It's in the middle of this park in a forest. And we saw the Flaming Lips play, which was very fun. So
That.
it's San Francisco where I live. It's music, which I love. And it matches the paint, which is what really matters.
Yeah.
So,
No, I love it.
and then back to the
Perfect.
blur.
Back to Blair. What do you always have with you at your desk?
What do I always have with me at my desk? I have this thing, which I really like. Little touchpad.
Ooh,
So
nice. Very
that's
cool.
really nice. And then I always have a very cold, very full cup of coffee because I like the effect of getting a coffee.
Uh-huh.
I don't really drink it. I just,
Interesting.
it's an aesthetic coffee.
Okay. I love it. What's your biggest pet peeve on a Zoom call?
Cameras off.
Oh,
I set cameras on.
yeah.
You know, I have a big team. There's like a lot of black squares makes me very uncomfortable.
Totally. It's a tough crowd when it's all
Yeah,
black
it's
squares.
a tough crowd. Exactly.
What was your weirdest Zoom call experience?
Oh, what was my weirdest Zoom call experience? I'm trying to think. I don't know, maybe I've been people's weirdest Zoom call experience because every time usually I'm in this very beautiful office. It looks super professional, but I actually don't. This isn't my favorite place to work. It's my husband's favorite place to work. I like to bounce around.
Uh-huh.
So if you're on a Zoom with me, you'll see me here. You'll see me at the kitchen table. You'll see me on the couch a lot. You'll see me on the floor sometimes.
Okay.
And once upon a time, yeah, I'm an old lady, so if I throw out my back, you're gonna see me in bed. So there's just Zooms everywhere.
So you are the weirdest
I
experience.
am the weirdest Zoom experience.
Perfect.
Exactly.
What is the most interesting thing you've learned recently?
What is the most interesting thing that I have learned recently? Hmm. I'm trying to think what I've learned recently. You know what's actually really interesting?
Mhm.
Maybe it's not gonna be interesting to people. It's interesting to me. I have a kid, he's in first grade, and they learn to do math totally differently.
Really?
Yeah, there's like you make sets and they do math all differently. And so he's learning to do addition and subtraction like 5 different ways, as opposed to when I was a kid where you just had to learn like memorize 17
Yeah.
minus 3 or whatever. And so it's very interesting to see how things that I took for granted learning as a kid, now my kids learn in a very different way. So when your kid's a little bit older, you'll
Yeah.
get to experience that. It's very strange.
Oh, that's interesting. What's your current obsession?
I'm obsessed with Waymos, the autonomous vehicles. So
Oh,
we live in San Francisco. They're legal in San Francisco, so they can take you all around the city, just like an Uber would. And it is the best experience. Anytime anybody comes into town, you'll have to come visit us. Anytime anybody comes in town, the first thing I do is I'm like, I'm going to put you in a robot car. And I take my kids in them. So I point them out when they go by the road. So I love a Waymo.
that's cool.
Yeah.
What is your favorite day of the week?
I mean, it's cheating, but Saturday and Sunday. I love the weekend.
Yeah, me too.
Um, for many reasons. I love the weekend because I do a lot of fun stuff with my kid. And you know this, I work on ChatPRD on the weekend, so
Yeah,
it's
of
my
course.
favorite time of the week.
I'm right there with you. Some people say Monday, which is so
Weird.
different from me.
So
But,
different.
what is the best swag you've ever received from a company?
Oh, what is the best swag I've ever received from a company? Oh, I know. Jam.dev,
Uh-huh.
Danny, the CEO, gave me a dad hat that says building things.
I
It's
love
I
that.
should have worn it today. It's my favorite hat. I wear it all the time. When I first came out, my husband looked at me and said, well, that's on brand for you. People stop me in the airport with this hat. It is the best hat. So the jam.dev building things hat
Oh, I
is
love that. I love that.
really good.
What is your favorite memory from a work trip?
Um, when I worked at a publicly traded company that
Mhm.
was very large and very international, I don't know if this is the kind of thing they wanted me to remember. They would put me in the nicest of the
Oh,
nicest hotels. So, I love a good work trip where, yeah, you show up, you work really hard, but then at the end of the day is waiting a silent, clean, very nice hotel. So I have very fond memories from working at this publicly traded company, not because not because of the things I worked on, but they did
but
have a
because
nice
their travel budget.
their travel policy was
Love it.
very
I love that. What's something you always take with you when you're traveling for work?
oh, when I'm traveling for work, I take my fun laptop and my work laptop. I
Oh,
travel with two laptops at all times.
really?
Oh yeah.
What's something you take with you on a like fun trip?
Oh, I always take the Laneige lip mask stuff. It's so good.
So
It's so
good.
good. So yeah, that's always on an airplane, on a trip, everywhere you go, it's dry. So
It's true. I
I
feel
just
like maybe you're supposed to use that like only at night, but I use it all the time.
use it all the time.
Yeah. What's your favorite activity to do with your kids?
I love to get up and adventure on a Saturday morning. This is probably why Saturdays are my favorite. So my favorite thing to do is get up. My kids will moan and groan for a while, but we get up. We live in the city, so I'll walk them to the bus. We take the
Mhm.
bus to the BART and we go to the ferry building and wander around and somehow spend like $100 at the farmer's market getting three peaches and a bagel. But it's beautiful and they are city kids, so they're on the bus and they're on the subway and they use their little clipper cards. And the city's so beautiful, and we just are out there with a whole bunch of people. And then I wander them home and we like stop at a park on the way home. So I just like to do like city adventure stuff with my
That
kids.
sounds
It's my favorite.
great. I
Yeah.
love it. Do you think either of your kids are going to follow in your career path?
That's a really good question. My oldest told me the other day that he either wanted to be like a biologist
Uh-huh.
or in technology.
Okay.
And like all good kids being raised in San Francisco, he's like, I think I'll go to Stanford or maybe MIT. And he has
All
ambitions
right.
to be
How old is
on
he?
the 7. He has ambitions to be on the baseball team. He's never played an official game of baseball in his life. So I love the ambition. I'm living for it. And then my youngest, he maybe has some of my artistic sensibilities. So he
Okay.
will be a creative like me. So maybe, I'm
Okay.
sure. I'm sure
Okay.
they'll do something good.
Amazing. What's your favorite season?
Well, that's a lie. Springtime in San Francisco is beautiful. The wildflowers are blooming. The weather is amazing.
Uh,
Summer in San Francisco is miserable. Woke up this morning, it was like 49 degrees outside. It's gray and glum and looks like December, but I like the heat. So if you can get me in the hot in the summer, I love a pool. So I'm a summer girl. We just don't get summers in San
Okay.
Francisco, unfortunately.
Amazing. I'm with you. I love the heat.
Yeah.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
I am a night person by nature and a morning person by force.
Mm.
I don't know if this happened to you when you had kids, but by
Yeah.
nature, I'm like up past midnight. That's where I'm feeling creative. That's where I want to be. My grandmother will stay up till like 2 in the morning.
Oh.
We're just night owls on that side. But I have kids, so I get up this morning, I got up at 5 in the morning, get up
Mm.
really early. So now I'm a morning person.
Okay. What's one thing you need in the morning before you start your day?
There's one thing I need in the morning before I am nice, and that is a cup of coffee. That is a cup,
Mhm.
that's
Your
honest to
iced cup of
goodness,
coffee?
literally the cup of coffee that I don't drink. I take a sip and then leave it alone. I need a walk. So we live in the city and I have to physically get outside and go for like at least a block or walk up the street to get a cup of coffee. So that's the thing
Okay.
I need.
Okay, got it. How did you start your day today?
I got up very early. This
Mm.
was an early rise. So I got up early. Kids got up. They were super sweet this morning because I was gone this
Mhm.
weekend. My husband did lunches. I helped get them dressed, and I drove them to school. That's what I do every morning.
Okay,
You
I
know,
love it.
home stuff.
Um, what activities did you do as a kid?
It was very artistic. So I was an arts kid, not sports. Did a lot of like painting and writing and that kind of stuff. And then I believe it or not, I played with computers. So I was like video
Yes, I
games,
believe it.
stuff, making websites, that kind of thing. So when I was a little bit older, like a teenager, I did a lot of video games.
That's cool. Do you still, well,
Do
my
I do
next
it?
question is, do you
Yes,
still do any of those activities?
I
I know the
do.
computer stuff you do.
I
How about
do
the other
computer
stuff?
activities. Do I do I do artistic stuff with my kids. I wish we had more time to do it. Oh,
Mhm.
and then I play music, which I still do these
Oh,
days.
cool.
Yeah.
What instrument or what kind of music?
I can play piano and guitar and I sing.
Cool. Okay. We'll follow up on that later.
We'll get me to sing later.
Yeah, that'll be the next YouTube video. It'll just be you singing. All right, let's see. What or who is the coolest person you've had the chance to meet?
Who is the coolest person that I've had that I mean, my kids are very cool. This is very like a very mom answer, which is like
That's
you get
okay.
to meet
We're
your kids
moms.
and they become humans. Have I met anybody? I don't know if I've met anybody cool.
Your
Oh,
kids. You
my
can count
kids,
that.
they're cool.
Who do you want to meet next?
Oh, who do I wish I met?
Hmm.
I really admire Melinda Gates. She went to my high school. She's like pretty cool. She does
That's
some great stuff about women's health initiatives. So she's always been at the top of my dinner party list.
okay. I love that. What was your first job?
What was my first job? I I did quote unquote marketing for a hairstylist.
Oh,
So a person that was a hairstylist and she needed to do like newsletters and email stuff and I made her website. So
that's
that's what I
awesome.
did. Yeah.
Nice. How did you get into product?
This is a great one. So I got my first job out of college. I was a liberal arts degree, those
Hmm.
liberal arts degrees they tell you to get. And I
Hmm.
got out and I immediately looked for a job. And the first job I got was at a startup being a copywriter because I had this liberal arts degree and I could write. And so I was a marketing copywriter and I wrote SEO landing pages all day. So, I'm talking to you all the time about SEO landing
Yeah.
pages because it's where I started. And I moved my way into product because I, one, had a design background, and two, kind of had worked in websites and web marketing a little bit from high school into college. And three, realized that most of product is words, and most of products is just explaining to people through an interface with words how something works. And so I did user experience, then ultimately became a product manager on that team.
That's cool. That's a great story. What's one of your favorite feature releases that you've been a part of?
Oh, I would say my favorite release that I have done spanned both software and kind of in-person stuff. So when I worked at Color Health, we launched a public health telehealth system for people who had COVID
Okay.
in a couple different states, in a handful of different states. So the state Department of Health would sponsor it. And we had a website where you go to it, you put in your symptoms, you put in your information. And then the real magic part was we would connect you in under 3 minutes with a real-time provider, whether on the phone or through telehealth, that could talk you through something and then prescribe you an antiviral, if that made sense. And the software itself was fine. The patient experience, it was great and lovely.
Mhm.
The really interesting part was trying to figure out how to get on demand 3-minute telehealth to people that really needed it. And so it was a very interesting product to build because it spanned software and real life providers and real life people and operations, but also had really big impact. And we did it in like 13 languages. It was just like a very interesting, we had real impact. We had, 86-year-old grandmothers who didn't speak English, who barely had a computer, who were going to go to the emergency room, use this product. So it was both a very fun product to build and very fulfilling.
That's really cool. It reminds me of the interview question that's often asked of like, how would you design a phone for someone who
Yeah.
doesn't know how to use a phone or
Yeah.
something? That's really
Well,
cool.
we actually, I mean, speaking of that, we actually made a system where you could call in instead of using the website. So we actually made an internet if you only had a phone,
Yeah.
which was a really cool part of that product.
Oh, that's awesome. Who's one product or technology leader you really admire?
Who is a product or technology? I just think what's really fun, I'm not going to name somebody particular, but what I think is really cool is all the product leaders out there are so nice and so accessible and all very humble. So I just think that I know so many VPs of product and chief product officers who are just incredibly generous with their time and very humble and very practical. And it's really fun to be in a peer set like that. So I would just say everybody is
Okay,
really great.
everybody.
And I really do admire my peers because we're all doing interesting and hard things and we're all really supporting each other.
That's awesome. I love that answer. If you weren't in the Bay Area, where would you be?
LA. I don't know. Everybody's like, would you move out of Northern California? I was like, yeah, to Southern California.
Well, you
I
like
love
the heat.
California. I like the heat. I grew up in Texas, but we are definitely West Coast. So maybe when Chat PRD makes me a multi-millionaire,
Perfect.
we'll be surfing down in Santa
Okay.
Monica.
Yeah, I'll come too.
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
I love LA.
Yeah.
What's the latest book you've read?
What is the latest book I read? I'm reading All the Light We Cannot See right now, but I'm in the middle of it. Oh, I read The Wager, which was a book about a shipwreck, I think in
Oh,
the 17th century, 16th or 17th century. Um, no, it had to be the 17th century. And what I determined from that book is I never want to be a sailor. So,
yeah.
so it's very interesting. And I have no interest in it whatsoever.
Okay, cool. Do you like reading off tablets, paper books, or audiobooks?
Paper books. Paper books. I read most off tablets or off my phone, off my Kindle app, but I prefer reading paper books. And we're really trying to push paper books in our house because screens are magnetic to kids.
Yeah.
So paper books in our house.
Okay, cool. Um, what is the last movie or show you watched?
We've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. We're almost done with the last season. My husband had never seen it. And then I just watched Priscilla, about Priscilla Presley, and it's pretty good. I like a Sofia Coppola movie.
Nice. Awesome. If you had to choose just one streaming platform, what would it be?
Oh, interesting. What would it be? My mind said Hulu, and I don't know why. That's an odd one.
Hulu
I guess
has been
because
stepping it up. I don't
yeah,
know.
I really like Handmaid's Tale, and they've got good movies.
Hmm.
Maybe it's
Okay,
Hulu. We'll
that
see.
works.
Yeah.
Um, Cliche question. If there was a movie made about you, who would you want cast as you?
Who would I want cast as me? This is a good one. Um, what is her? I do not know her name, but there is this show, Mythic Quest, which I
Okay.
don't know if you've seen. It's about a video game company. It's on
Hmm.
Apple TV. And the woman who plays Poppy, she plays a software engineer.
Uh-huh.
It's like watching myself on
Mm,
screen. I maybe like 5%, not that weird.
okay.
But,
I love it.
but that is me representation in media,
Okay.
I would say. So whoever that actress is, she nailed my vibe. Let's just reprise it.
In post, I'll find who that is and I'll
Yeah, find
pop
who it
that
is
on
and pop
screen.
it up there.
I love it. What artists have you been listening to lately?
My God, I'm so basic.
That's fine.
It's all the elder millennials on my block are all getting into their like cars with their two kids listening to this new Taylor Swift album. I find it hilarious. Every time I get on in the morning, somebody's getting into their car
Can you hear
like
it?
night. Like it's just extremely funny. So we're just all in the torture poets department on this
Yep.
block. We're all, she's
Yeah.
mostly kid appropriate. We're
I'm
just
here
living
for it. I love
it.
it. What's one thing you want to get good at?
Singing.
Oh,
Yeah. Were you expecting that? No, I really wish I had I wish I had a more trained voice.
that's
It brings
cool.
me a lot of joy.
Oh, I love that. Back to product. What's
Okay.
one thing you look for in a good PM?
Scrappiness.
Mm.
Like the ability to get something done with minimal resources. You know how we roll at Chat
Oh, yeah,
PRD.
for
We run
sure.
thin, but we get stuff done.
Yeah, I love it. What's the coolest thing you've seen a PM do?
I really admire PMs that can break down very technically complex
Mm.
products into something that the whole team understands. So I'm just thinking of my friend Giannis, who's worked with me twice before. Giannis, I miss you so much. Um, and he's just excellent at taking the very detailed technical nuances of a product and making it so that everybody understands it and everybody can explain it. And everybody still likes him at the end of the process. So I think folks that can really bridge the technical and the product are always very impressive to me.
I love that. What's one piece of advice you would give folks wanting to break into product?
Build something. I think that's the thing. Build something, anything, no code, build a website, build something, solve a problem, open a lemonade stand, whatever it is. But I think building something and actually trying to sell something on the internet is just the perfect way to get started in product if you have no other way in.
Love it. What's a piece of advice you would give PMs who want to grow in their careers?
Don't ask for permission to do good work. And what I mean is a lot of people are waiting for projects to be handed to them or responsibilities to be handed to them. And I really think the people that do best just take problems and find problems and take them and solve them proactively. The growth will come if you do that.
What are three things that make for a good PRD?
One, created by ChatPRD,
Duh.
obviously. Don't waste time. Um, what I think makes for a good requirements document, the things that I think are particularly important is one, the TLDR, like the most succinct at the top of the document summary of what is it you're trying to do here, because people claim they're going to read and they're not going to read. So the ability to really succinctly articulate what's going on, very important.
Mhm.
Two, I think alternatives considered and options on milestones. Like I think building optionality into a PRD where you can consider trade-offs, like we could do version A or version B, or we could do milestone 0, milestone 1.
Mhm.
Uh, I think those sorts of things are quite important for really good PRDs. And then the third thing that I think is important, most people leave out are some of the technical considerations, which is understanding the underlying product or infrastructure or how you might do things actually lead to very rich discussions about what you should build. So those are
Awesome.
things that I think are important.
Nice. Well, I'm making it to my second page worth of questions.
Did it. We're getting there.
Oh, we're getting there. How did you come up with the Chat PRD logo?
That is a what is it called? Mid-Journey special. So we
Love it.
definitely generated on Mid-Journey. And let me tell you, I prompted that thing and I was like a PM making a PRD on a laptop, blah, blah, blah. It would only give me male PMs. I had to prompt
I
it like
love that.
I had to bully it into imagining a woman as a PM.
Yeah.
So I think I actually had to stop saying product manager and I had to say like CEO or executive or something like that to get it to be a woman. It was wild.
Mhm.
I'll pull it up sometime. We should post it because I have
Yeah.
how I prompted it. But yeah, I
Oh
made
my, that's super interesting. We should definitely do that. So what is one thing people should take off their resumes?
Oh, this is a good one. Take the descriptions off anything that's more than for people of my age, like 10 years old. Like I think
Yeah.
people get too much in the back of their resumes and
Yeah.
like nobody looks at it. Name, title, years, one sentence of what you did, and keep the bulk of it sort of towards the top of the more recent
The
jobs.
recent stuff. Got it.
Yeah.
What is the best question to ask at the end of an interview?
My favorite question as an interviewer to ask at the end of the interview is, um, what do you think about our business model and what would you change about it? Because a lot of
Mhm.
people don't actually think about how products make money. They think about how products are designed or how users would use it, but they don't
Mhm.
actually think about business models. And so
Mhm.
that's one of my favorite ones to ask. As an interviewee, what I would always ask is there anything we covered or didn't cover that would make you hesitant about me in this role? I think soliciting out
I
hearing
love
because then
that.
you're gonna hear either you're gonna hear like, "No, this was great. I'm, like, really excited about you," or you're gonna hear, "Yeah, I actually didn't hear about this, and it's a really important part of the role," and then you get that opportunity to sort of answer to it. So I always say solicit for the hard feedback because then you can at least answer it.
Love that. That's great advice. Tell me about the best candidate you've ever interviewed.
Oh, I get to interview. I interview a lot, so I've interviewed a lot of really great candidates. I think people forget on both sides of recruiting um, they forget on both sides recruiting, you're selling. Like when you're interviewing, you're selling, and when you're recruiting, you're selling. And the best candidates I have are really good at follow-up. So they immediately follow up with email. Thanks for talking to me. Here are my 3 questions. If I text them, they text me back. Like they're just very responsive. And I think that's the thing that will take somebody from like a hire you're excited about
Mhm.
and then to a hire that you really, really must have. And so I
Yeah,
think it's just that like selling on both sides is really important.
very cool. All right, now these are some rapid fire
Okay.
questions about product leaders. What product leader is really crushing it lately?
Oh, I love how Airbnb is doing their releases
Ooh,
these days. So I think that team is doing a really interesting thing, not just with product, but with product marketing.
ooh, okay, cool. What product leader would you want to grab coffee with?
Who do I want to grab coffee with? I feel like Peter Yang and I should hang out. He's always on Twitter. He's saying funny stuff. He's using ChatPRD. We should have coffee sometime.
What product leader would you want to work with someday?
Oh God, I want to work with you. So I mean, we work together. But you're so good. I feel like you keep me on my toes. When I read this, it was like,
Ah,
what product person do I want to work with someday? And I'm like, I just want to work more with you. You're so
oh my
great.
God,
I got you.
honored. Oh, let me stop blushing. Okay, what product leader do you want to hear speak?
I want to hear speak.
Because you
I don't
want
know.
to
I'm
hear your
gonna
next
pass. We'll
release.
have to come back to this
Okay,
one.
you can say pass.
Yes,
Okay.
pass. I
Uh,
don't want to. I don't. Maybe this pass. I don't want to sit and listen to people at conferences.
perfect. What has been the most rewarding project in your career? Doesn't have to be product, or it can be product.
I think the work that we did at Color was great during the pandemic.
Yeah,
Very rewarding, very good, very tangible work that we can be proud of, and like excellent product and engineering work.
cool. Do you prefer startups or big companies?
Startups,
Would you recommend new grads to start their careers at big or small companies?
small companies.
What's one product you're impressed by?
I'm actually, I am pretty impressed. I said this on another podcast. I am pretty impressed by Google Docs keeps getting better and it's
Mm.
like a legacy product. And any legacy product, legacy in quotes,
Mhm.
that like can continue to get better, I'm always impressed by. So I'm rooting for the PMs at over at Google Docs.
Oh, cool. What's a product you use every day and love?
Future, which is a remote personal training app
Ooh.
I use every day and I love it. It is so good.
What's a product that you wish you had come up with?
Oh, what's a product I wish I had come up? I mean, like, I wish I had come up with all these open AI models. That would have been pretty smart, pretty smart of me. Um, I mean, I wish I would have come up with Zoom. That would have been
Yeah, that would have
great.
been
There's just
great.
like high utility products,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Who would you say has been your biggest inspiration in your career?
Here's the real hard truth. As
Mhm.
being a woman, it is very hard to find mentors and people to like, not people to look up to. There's plenty of people to look up to,
Yeah.
but there are just very few people, women that get into roles like mine. So I've always felt like I have lacked role models. So
Mhm.
I really just love surrounding myself with startup founders and people who are just trying things, even if they have no permission or have never done it before,
Yeah.
because I think that to me is the most is inspirational. So everybody out there that's building companies, I admire you.
If you had to choose between CTO and CPO, what would you choose?
Ah, I love writing. I love software engineering so much. So I am chief product officer on on TikTok and by
Mhm.
title, but I love it's very interesting that the technical side of things. So
Okay,
in my
cool.
heart, that's where my heart
Well,
goes.
even when you were younger, you played with computers and yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, we're gonna talk department stereotypes. Which department at tech companies would you want to party with?
I want to party with the tech department the wherever the introverts are because they
Uh-huh.
don't want to party and I don't want to party.
What department would you want to have a relaxed night out with?
Oh, um, marketing.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
What department would show up to one of your speaking engagements?
Product.
What department would you do a book club with?
Finance.
Interesting.
Mhm.
All right. Let's say you're going through a hard time. What department would you want to make you feel better?
Design.
Is there any department or role at a tech company that gets a bad rap?
Is there any oh, sales. I love I no, a JK. If you want to party, you party with sales. Sales.
I would say sales too.
Yeah, selling is such a hard job. And you're really out there on your own, making your own money. And I think, especially the builder teams, especially product and engineering, should give sales more respect because that is the hardest job, I think, in a company.
Got it.
Yeah.
What makes you happiest these days?
Sunshine and my kids.
Perfect. What have you done recently for the first time?
What have I done recently for the first time? This has been the first time that I've run a not enterprise sales company in ChatPRD
Cool.
that like legit has a lot of use. Has a
I
lot
love
of use.
it.
It's very different doing like direct enterprise sales and having like clients, but this has like users. So,
Yeah.
so it's the
Cool.
first time I've had this kind of company.
That's awesome. You're from Dallas. What's
Uh,
one recommendation you have for someone visiting there?
Oh, get a margarita. I mean, I just think like they just don't do margaritas in Tex-Mex like they do in Dallas. So you can do
Oh,
no wrong basically anywhere, but just margarita, salt on the rim, chicken
that's my
enchiladas.
jam.
Yeah,
All
me too.
right. What's the best food you can get in Dallas?
What's the best? What is my favorite place to eat in Dallas? I mean, I do think you can get really good Tex-Mex, really
Mhm.
great food in Dallas. Um, so I love that. But there's also, I mean, I haven't been back to Dallas in a while, but there was this really good Vietnamese restaurant called Mo Hai Boss. So they just have like great food in
Yeah.
Dallas. You can get
Okay.
anything in Dallas.
I love it. What's one stereotype about people from Texas that's true?
Oh, bigger hair, closer to God. Women in Texas know how to have big hair. People see my hair sometimes. It's like pretty put together today. But
Uh-huh.
people see my hair sometimes and they're like, "Are you from Texas?" And I'm like,
Really?
"Yes, I am." It's
I love that.
very fair.
Can you say something in a Texas accent?
Absolutely, I can.
That's good.
Yeah, I can do it. When I get a little, like if I get a little drunk, I can like
You go into Texas mode?
I'll start saying y'all. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
What's one impact you want to make on the tech and product community?
I want everybody to have an AI product teammate. I want everybody to have one. Like,
Just
what a
a buddy.
superpower.
I love it. What's one piece of advice you would share to people who want to follow in your career path?
Ask for what you want. No one's going to give it to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the key to happiness in your career?
Do things that find joy and let go of things that you can't control. So
Mm.
I think my job is the best. I get to build things for a living, and anything that is moderately annoying is better now because I just let it go.
Cool.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to 18-year-old Claire?
You belong in computer science school. Yeah. I didn't think I belonged. So
Oh. What are you doing immediately after this interview?
coding.
Okay. What's the next piece of food you're going to eat?
What are we gonna have for dinner? Dinner. So rice and salmon.
Love it. Um, how do you feel about this being the last question of our interview?
Amazing.
Okay, great. Well, we did it. Thank you so much for answering our 74 questions. It was great to get to know you a little bit more and get a bunch of great advice.
Yeah, this was really fun. Thank you.